Have you ever stopped to think about the economy as this huge, real-time strategy game? I mean, it's happening all around us every single day. Companies, big and small, are making these high-stakes moves that totally shape what we buy, how much we pay for it, and really the world we live in. So today, we're going to open up that rulebook and take a look at the strategies for winning this game. Okay, let's get into it. And look, this isn't just some fun metaphor we're throwing around. This quote from our source material really nails it. Competition is the engine of the market. It is the fundamental force that pushes companies to get better, faster, more innovative. You could say it's the very driver of economic evolution itself. All right, so every game needs a rulebook, right? Well, in economics, the ideal perfect world rulebook is this concept called perfect competition. Think of it as the theoretical gold standard that the real, often messy game gets measured against. To get a feel for this, imagine a giant farmer's market. Every single stall is selling the exact same apple. There's no fancy branding, no special features, nothing. In a world like that, you can't charge a penny more than the stall next to you, and hey, anyone can just show up and set up a new stall instantly. The only thing that matters is price. That, in a nutshell, is perfect competition. It's a useful benchmark for pure efficiency, but it's not really how the world works. So let's talk about the real world. This slide lays out the difference perfectly. We don't live in that perfect competition world. We live in one of imperfect competition. So instead of tons of little firms, we usually have a few dominant players. Products aren't all identical. Companies work hard to make them different. And there are some pretty significant barriers that stop new players from just jumping into the game whenever they want. So in this real-world game, how do you actually get ahead? Well, you have to go on the offensive. Companies are constantly cooking up new strategies to get an advantage over their rivals and try to capture the market. Now, how do you build an advantage that actually lasts? This is where a really cool concept called the VRIN framework comes in. To build a real sustainable edge, a company needs resources that are valuable, rare, inimitable, meaning hard to copy, and non-substitutable. Just think about Google's search algorithm. It's incredibly valuable, right? It organizes all the world's information. It's rare, nobody else has it. It's pretty much inimitable because it's built on billions of dollars and decades of data. And it's non-substitutable. There's no real true equivalent. Now that is a powerful long-term advantage. Another classic offensive move is just making your product stand out from the pack. This is all about differentiation. It could be your branding, a killer user experience, or some cutting-edge tech. The whole point is to escape that purely price-driven race to the bottom we saw in the perfect market and build some real, lasting customer loyalty. And then, of course, there's the public drama of it all. We call it market jousting. This is when companies get into open, aggressive fights for position. We're talking about those attack ads, the strategic lawsuits, and clever pricing moves. All of it is designed to outmaneuver and weaken the competition right out in the open. Okay, so you've played offense, you've captured the hill, great. But winning isn't just about taking territory, is it? It's about holding it. And that is where defensive strategies come into play. This is how the market leaders build a fortress around their business. These barriers to entry are basically walls that make it super hard for new challengers to even get started. I mean, think about it. Things like patents that protect a new drug for years, the massive cost of building a new car factory, or the powerful network effects of a social media app. The more people who use it, the harder it is for any newcomer to compete. And here is an absolutely crucial point. The most dominant players, the big dogs, they don't just defend their position. They actively work to shape the entire game. They're the ones setting industry standards, influencing prices, and basically defining the direction of the market for everyone else. This is where that defense can get a lot more aggressive. Exclusionary practices aren't just about building walls. They're about actively shutting and locking the gate. This can mean forcing your suppliers into exclusive deals, using your dominant platform to put rivals at a disadvantage, or creating a tech ecosystem that's basically impossible for customers to leave. But what happens when that aggressive strategy crosses a line and starts breaking the rules? I mean, every game has fouls, and in the market, these moves can seriously distort the whole playing field. So the first major foul we've got to talk about is collusion. This is when rivals who are supposed to be competing secretly team up to cheat the system. They might agree to set prices artificially high or limit how much they produce, all to guarantee themselves bigger profits at our expense. It's pretty much the ultimate anti-competitive move. Next up, price wars. This is just a brutal race to the bottom. And yeah, lower prices might sound great for us in the short term, but you have to look at the strategy. The goal is often to bleed the weaker competitors dry until they're forced out of the market entirely, which, in the long run, just means less competition. And that brings us to the most extreme tactic of all, cutthroat competition. The name kinda says it all. Here, the goal isn't just to outperform your rivals, it's to eliminate them, period. This is predatory, all-out warfare designed to consolidate the market and completely destroy any opposition. So, as companies are out there committing fouls and breaking the rules, who blows the whistle? To keep the whole game from just descending into chaos, you've got to have a referee on the field. And that referee, in the real world, we call it antitrust. These are the laws and the agencies whose whole job is to make sure there's a level playing field. They're there to break up monopolies, punish collusion, and block any practices that unfairly crush competition, all to protect the integrity of the game for everyone. And you better believe that referee's job is always evolving. Today, antitrust isn't just about giant factories or old railroad monopolies. Now, regulators are focused on entirely new digital arenas, things like the immense power of big data, the lock-in effects of major tech platforms, and even how sneaky algorithms could potentially be used to collude without anyone ever talking to each other. So, after all the offensive plays, the defensive moves, the jousting, and the fouls, how do we know who actually won? What does the final score even look like in this game? Well, one of the simplest ways to keep score is just by looking at market share. The percentage of total sales a single company controls. So as you can see in this little example, from A is the clear leader. With 55% of the market, they have significant power and influence over the entire game. But maybe the most important question of all is what kind of game is even being played? See, in a zero-sum game, the pie is a fixed size. For me to get a bigger slice, you have to get a smaller one. That's it. But in a non-zero-sum game, real innovation can actually make the whole pie bigger, creating new value where everyone can potentially win. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In this huge, complex, high-stakes game of markets, maybe the ultimate victory isn't just about grabbing the biggest slice of the pie. Perhaps the real win is being the innovator who changes the rules and expands the entire playing field for everybody. What do you think?